Yo, what up? Welcome to another episode of the D Will Show. I am your host, D Will, and this is episode 133. Be sure to follow me on Instagram. Go follow me on Instagram at D Willow at DWILLOOO. Go follow me. I have a bunch of upcoming episodes for you guys. So make sure you go follow me to stay up to date with what episodes I have coming up. Also subscribe to the D Will Show on YouTube. Make sure to subscribe, share with your family, comment, like all those good things, and to also like and follow us wherever you get your podcast, Spotify, Apple, Google. The D Will Show is over there. Make sure to 5-star from me, share with your friends and loved ones. I want to give a shout out to our sponsors for this episode, 27 Horizon. Connect your business to new horizons. Contact 27 Horizon today for all of your creative design needs and book them today to make your event one to remember with any DJ and photo services. DM 27 Horizon for more info. Now, the good part, I got a good one for y'all tonight. My cuz hooked me up with bro, so we had to get him on the show. He's been in almost everybody's top 5 from the city. I got a West Aurora legend, a former St. Ambrose University star, an Iowa Wesleyan star, and many say he's a top 5 from the city, Mr. Reggie Shipp. Reggie, I appreciate you tapping in with me, Brody.
Hey, man, I want to thank you for having me. It's an honor. I've been watching a couple of the shows and got some big time guests on here. So, man, it's a privilege to be here, man. Thank you.
I appreciate it. No problem. To jump right into it, man. Just kind of take us through your upbringing, for the people that's really not too familiar with your story or just familiar with you. If you could just take us through your upbringing, man, and we'll go from there.
Yeah, for sure. So, I am born in Aurora, Illinois. So,
Okay.
I grew up kind of like on both sides, so east side and west side.
Okay.
Um, uh, all my schooling I went to on the west side there. It was kind of funny. K through third, I went to Smith School, so right there. We used to call it Hunnos back in the day, the Huntington, right over there.
Yeah.
Kind of
Okay.
that area right over by Post Road. So I went there from K through third. My parents split up, so then actually I moved to Mississippi my fourth and fifth grade year. Went down there, and then my sixth grade year I came back to live with my pops and my stepmom. And then I went to Jewel my sixth and seventh grade year. Eighth grade year, moved again. I went to Geneva for 1 year. So I know
Okay.
a lot of people out there at Geneva. We were some killers back in the day on the court. And then after Geneva, I went to West all 4 years. So
Okay.
Coach Kirkman, Coach Shaw, Thompson, Coach Battle, and went there, graduated from West in '07. So yeah, that's kind of like a little bit of the basketball journey. It's kind of funny. My dad actually coached at East. He was a girls coach over at East. My aunt is Rashima Wood. She's in the Hall of Fame over there. My
Okay.
dad's there. So it's funny. All my dad's side went to the East side, and then all my mom's side went on the West side. But I was always on the East side. I was right over there on Anderson Street. My uncle is my dad's youngest brother, but my uncle is Tyrone Evans. I mean, he
Okay.
graduated in
I hear a lot
05.
about him on this show, man.
He was, it's kind of crazy because nowadays it's probably like regular, but I mean, he was playing varsity. I mean, he was playing in high school when he was in eighth grade. So actually his senior year got cut short. A lot of
Yeah.
people kind of forget about that, but he was kind of one of the first ones. But, I was always with him all the time. So like I knew everybody on the east side, especially hoopers. I was in all the gyms, and then, on the west side. But I moved quite a bit, man. I think me and my brothers, I think we counted one time. It was definitely over 10 or 11,
Yeah.
12 times, year to year going to another place. So, but
Okay.
yeah, that's just kind of a little bit of that for the basketball sake wise. For the most part, had a pretty decent life. Mine's a little bit different just because I left my home like a kind of an early age, and so high school was like my sanctuary a little bit. So when we talk about high school basketball, that was kind of my savior there. Coach Kirkman kind of put me under his wing. But then I also had like the dudes before me that, at West, man, there was like certain things you could do and can't do. So
Yeah. Okay. What led to the move? I know you said you were, born in Aurora, then you kind of moved to Geneva. What kind of led to that choice of moving over there?
yeah, so like I said, when I moved from Aurora to Mississippi at that time, that was my parents just got divorced. That
Okay.
happens. But my
Okay.
mom, we have a lot of family down in Mississippi, so shout out to all my Mississippi family down in Bahia, Mississippi.
Yeah.
And so we moved down there, my mom and my brothers. But then after my fourth grade year, my brothers actually moved up back to Aurora with my dad, and then I
Okay.
stayed down there with my mom. And so in fifth grade year, I was playing out there at Galena Elementary. That was pretty cool. But then like it just had like a whole bunch of stuff happen. Like I got a 3rd-degree burn on my back from like this hot boiling stove because I was trying to cook like ramen noodles, and then it flipped over and it got on my back, in 5th grade. And then I also got attacked by a Rottweiler when I was out there, and it broke
Oh
both of my
man.
arms. I always kind of joke or laugh about it now because that's probably how I got to develop my left hand. 'Cause,
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
had 2 casts at the same time, and then the right one came off. No, excuse me, the left one came off first, and so I was able to dribble there. So kind of after all that happened, boom, I moved back up here with my dad, back to Aurora, up to where my dad went to Jewel those first 2 years. It was great, but my dad got a job, I think like in the Geneva area. So we moved out there for a year. And it was pretty cool, you know what I mean? It was different. I think me and my family were maybe like one of the like 3 black families that go to that school. Probably different now in 2024, but definitely wasn't when I was in 8th grade.
Yeah.
And so
Yeah.
that definitely was a different environment because I was, used to a whole bunch of, diversity or being around black people just in general. So walking in Geneva was a shell shock there. But we was hooping, man. I mean, we had our West Side Warriors. I remember Coach Thompson had this like travel team. That was like the Royal Lakers and stuff like that. But Geneva, we had our own travel team, the Geneva Vikings, and we had some killers. We had Big Sean Rete was up there. That was the first time I saw like an 8th grader was dunking and stuff like that, like slip pot. And we won some games. But after my 8th grade year, kind of like towards like the end of the high school season, me and my dad went to go watch we went to go watch Geneva play. And that's when we were trying to kind of like pick high schools where we're kind of going to go if we're going to move back to Aurora. And my dad said there's no way in hell you're going to play at Geneva. So didn't end up Geneva. I had St. Joe's. Like I remember I was talking to Coach Pingator,
Rest in
God
peace,
rest
Coach
his
Payne.
soul. Yeah, God rest his soul. Thought that was going to be an option there, and it was. But I would have had to take the train every day, and
Yeah.
that right. I mean, now 2024, probably possible. People got phones, you can,
Yeah.
FaceTime and
Uber,
stuff.
all type
Yeah,
of stuff.
all
Yeah.
that, all that. Back then, like, nah, that was just kind of unfeasible. So we went to West. So.
Yeah. Did it ever become tough for you? I kind of went through a similar situation when my parents split and I kind of had to go back and forth between Oak Park to Aurora. Did that ever become like too difficult for you? Did it ever waver, the way you felt about the situation? Was it tough?
Yeah, I think just kind of any split family homes is tough. Kind of going back and forth. I mean, our dynamic was different because they weren't like getting along. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that definitely makes it kind of worse there. I had lived with my mom for 2 years. Like, well, my brothers were there with us in 4th grade, but in 5th grade it was just like me and her.
Yeah.
And it wasn't like I had like a horrible experience with her, but I just had
Yeah.
a horrible experience down there. Period.
Yeah.
And that
Yeah.
kind of definitely tainted the view. Then I moved back here, and I had already knew my stepmom, but that's a different dynamic too. Kind of
Yeah.
blended family.
Yeah.
So yeah, like I'd say it played a part for sure. Just coming from a split family, but it's almost like you don't think about it until you get older. Like when you're going through it, you're like, all right, it is what it is. But like when you kind of look back on it, you're like, damn, that was make it difficult, or made a probably a barrier that if they weren't divorced or anything, probably wouldn't be there. So I think
Yeah.
every divorced kid or adult can probably say that.
Facts.
But yeah, it was a challenge. I think in high school it became even kind of a more of a challenge because after my freshman year, kind of like in the middle of my freshman year, I was just kind of having like some family difficulties,
Yeah.
and then I left, you know, and so that was kind of different too. That's one of the, you know, you talk about your brother here, Skip. You know, that's my brother too, Mike, and that's kind of how we got really acquainted. You know, because he lived a couple blocks over. I was doing a lot of couch surfing during my high school years, you know, couch to couch, living with cousins or family or whatever.
Yeah.
Uh, you know, and it is what it is. But, you know, it definitely honed me in to concentrate and focus on basketball. And so, you know, that's one of the best reasons why I'm glad I went to West, just because the kind of the discipline Coach Kirkman instilled and
Yeah.
some of the stuff I use today. And like I said before, like that was I think we talked offline, but that was my sanctuary, man. Like,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
you could be in the gym. Coach Kirkman had that gym open all day, and them practices was like 3 hours after school. You know what I mean? So like, I mean, by that time, man, you like almost too tired to do anything. And then
Yeah.
all you gotta do is worry about going where you're gonna eat and then find somewhere to sleep. And he used to open the gym for me in the morning. So because he kind of knew what it was already. And then
Yeah.
it got better as I got older. I got to connect with some school people. They helped me get emancipated when I was like 16, so I can do a lot more things. I was a legal adult at 16, and then yeah, you know, so that was kind of some barriers that were kind of some roadblocks there that was put in my life while I was in high school. But
Okay.
yeah.
Okay. When did the ball come in the picture for you, bro? Like, was it were you always a basketball player? Was it somebody that kind of put the rock in your hand, or was it something that you just picked up on your own?
For sure. No, it was definitely nothing I picked up on my own. Like I said, my dad was a coach. He coached at the East. My aunt's a
Okay.
legend. My uncle Tyrone. And so my dad was the one who put the ball in my hand. Like I grew up with a ball, shot a ball. I remember
Yeah.
he bought me my first pair of Jordans. You know, I got me the He Got game. So, you know, I thought I
Yeah.
was
Yeah.
my YMCA days. But yeah, I always had basketball. It was something I wanted to do. It was you know, I was good at it. But yeah, and he's the one who put it in my hand. But I have like the role models, like I said, my aunt, my
Yeah.
uncle, my Tyrone is, you know, one of the reasons why I got to meet a lot of the dudes from the East Side. You
Yeah.
know, kicking with the young, you know, I always kicked it with older dudes, so like Yami,
Yeah.
Terry, you know, Brian Austin, like all these dudes that he played for the Roar Sharpshooter. So, you know, when he went to the gym, I was in the gym,
Yeah.
and you know, that was at a time where not everybody got to play. So
Yeah.
it
Yeah.
was you gotta earn your stripes out there. And
Thanks. Thanks.
you know, he wouldn't pick me. So you know, he's like, hey, if you can hoop, you can hoop. And then, you know, after a while it just became like, nah, that you don't leave him open. He's not just a little kid, like he can hoop. So
Yeah. Did it ever come to a time where you felt like those were tough shoes to fill coming behind a basketball family?
no, not really.
Okay.
Because honestly, it was just like me and like I think like my uncle Tyrone, like it was a good example I could watch. Like he was a monster over at East, you know, kind of curve out his lane. And, you know, he definitely like held me along. Like he was more so lead by action, you know, rather than words. You know, he's not like a huge talker. We're not like doing no deep talks like that.
Yeah.
Like we
Yeah.
ain't,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? And every now and then, like he'll break it down, but you know, he was you know, I saw how respected he was. Like walking the gym, they know like don't leave him open. He'll dunk on you, like whatever.
Yeah.
And you know, I wanted that. You know, I wanted to be like, you know, I'm a hooper. So I got to be able to kind of carve my own path. It was cool. Like we actually got to play against each other in the East West game when I was a sophomore. So that was pretty cool. But yeah, no, definitely like no pressure really.
Okay.
Yeah, because those are the only two I think in my family that went to college for basketball. My uncle and
Okay.
aunt, and but yeah, for sure, I put the pressure on myself.
Yeah. 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 Oh, for you, is there a particular moment where you realize, like, okay, this is what I really want to do? Was it a particular game, a moment that kind of like clicked for you, and you was like, all right, like I'm really gonna lock in with hooping?
Yeah, I think like I had always I'm like one of those people like you tell me I can't do something, I'm gonna prove it to you, that
Yeah,
type of thing. And I was always like a hooper, and I thought I was pretty good. I wouldn't say it was like daddy ball or nothing like that, but it was one time like the West Side Warriors. I think it was in sixth grade or seventh grade, sixth grade or something. They told me that they wouldn't take me because they didn't feel like I had a left hand. And so, like, I was like, all right, cool. And then I think that's when I went to go play for Geneva. So that was actually in eighth grade. And I'm glad that like in eighth grade, then we killed them, you know what I mean, with my new team. And so I think that kind of clicked with me. That was like the first time where somebody was like, I think I got somebody on my team that's better than you. And
yeah,
it wasn't true at all, but it was like, all right, cool. I'm gonna show you. And then it was just like, I'm gonna make sure ain't nobody gonna mess with me. So
yeah. Where did that come from? Was that just something that you've always had, like where you are like an underdog your whole life? Like, where did that come from when you was like, all right, man? Because some people have that moment of, oh man, okay, well, I quit, I give up. Like, where does your drive come from?
I mean, it's discipline's been instilled from me, like you say, even though like I left at a young age or whatever, up until that point, I was raised in a disciplined household. I got three younger brothers and I'm the oldest. And so,
Okay.
leading by example that way, like there is no quit, there is no, not, we don't quit nothing. You start something, you finish it. And it's more of like the environment we grow up in, if
Yeah,
you back down or you cower or anything like that, like, you're seen as weak. And then you can't play at West like that. There was
yeah,
just no way. There was no way. It was too many good people. I mean, I came in when it was like '03, so it was like Sean Pruitt was still there, and some of those guys was back. And then
yeah,
like, I played with like TJ Marion and all these guys, and we went downstate, which was great. But like, if you didn't have that mentality, like you weren't gonna play. And
yeah.
so probably that can't quit mentality kind of came up how I raised, kind of go back to answer your question. I know I'm on a tangent here, but
No, you
uh,
good.
yeah, but that most likely that's how I raised. And then, like I said, I had some great people. I talk about my aunt Rashima a lot, but like, I mean, she's probably one of the most selfless people I've ever, who I look up to quite a bit.
Facts.
Um, and my uncle Tyrone, like he went through the hell his senior year, to play, and just kind of seeing them go through that, like there was no quit in me, and plus
Yeah,
I want to play,
yeah.
so.
Facts, facts.
That's it.
Okay. Coming up, I know you talk about your aunt and your uncle a lot. But who was that one? Who was that player or players for you that you kind of was locked in on kind of patting your game after? And like, what did you try to take from each player?
So I said growing up, like NBA. So like my growing up, like I wasn't allowed to watch AM1. So
Okay.
when AM1, like Hot Sauce, Professor, like
Yeah.
all that, like I wasn't allowed to, and that really got big. But it wasn't real basketball, so I wasn't allowed to watch that. So one of the big thing, like Michael Jordan, watched all the Jordan tapes, you know. But probably like who I try to pat my game after, I was a big Reggie Miller fan because his name is Reggie. That was a point when I was little, but I actually did like him. Okay, I was a Pacers fan over the Bulls, still a Pacers fan. But I also Steve Nash was a big one too, because I just like his passing ability. And I mean, he shot. I mean, he was a 50, 40, 90 guy.
Yeah.
A lot of
Facts.
people forget about that, but he just made everyone around him better. And it's like, he can give you 35, but he'd rather give you 10. I mean, he'd rather give you 20, 10, 15 assists and get a
Facts.
win rather than go out there and score 35. So I kind of try to pat my game after that.
Okay.
Those kind of two players. So
Okay. Rez, take us through your AAU career. What were some of the high and low moments that you had, playing AAU ball?
yeah, my AAU career is different. It was definitely not as like, structured as it is. Like I'm an AAU coach. I'm part of the AAU program. We can talk about that later. But it definitely wasn't kind of like how it is now. With my AAU, it was kind of jumping around from team to team, picking up here this summer, picking up here this summer. Probably one of my biggest moments. We used to have a team called the Illinois Bearcats, kind of a local team we started. It was like kids from West, kids from East. I think we had a homeboy from what is that school? I think it was like Holy Angels that was back there. So this was like in middle school, and we put a team together. We went up there to like the Windy City Classic, I believe, and we beat Team Ferrari, and that was Derrick Rose' team. So that was T Rose, that was Big Tim. I
Was
think
Jerome on that team too?
Yeah, I think
Jer-
and I think like Brian Hall, Brian Orange was on there. So Brendan Hall, I think his name is. But like, yeah, they had a whip, and we beat them. You know what I mean? So that was like probably like a big moment in there. I got to play, some pretty big high tournaments. I played for like a team called Chi-Town Mixers. I played for like Mean Streets for a little bit. Chi-Town Mixers, we went to Vegas. That's when we did pretty good, and that was like me, Yami, Tyrone. We had like Kiera Miller on that team. Marshall Slaughter was there. So that was a pretty cool thing. We went out there, beat like some big teams, but that was like the first time I got to saw like Kevin Love out there, and I saw like OJ Mayo out there. And I think that was, other than seeing it already in Illinois, because Illinois hub for high school basketball. Going out there was like, all right, I see like the national ranked players and this, that, and the other. And I think that's when it really just started getting big about rankings and, oh, this is this dude, this is that dude. And, and so, yeah. So like my AAU experience was good. Not now what I know now, it wasn't, like I'd rather have been on like a structured team, like for long, rather than kind of maybe hopping around from team to team, try to get on like a national program, that type of thing.
Yeah. Okay. So after AAU career, I know you spoke about it a little bit. Now you got to pick what high school you want to go to. How did that whole decision waver and kind of lead to, you finally choosing West and going to play for Legendary Country?
Yeah. Well, I was always a Blackhawk. Like I said, I grew up a Blackhawk. Like, that was like, I always wanted to go back. So it was pretty much like, all right, while we're here, like, let's go check. You know what I mean? So it was almost like I could have felt like, and me and my like dad had talked about it at that time. I felt like I could have been maybe a big fish in a small pond, that type of thing. But it was also like, you're not gonna learn the game that well. You know what I mean? So Geneva was an option. We went to one high school game, and they were running like a weave up top for like 40 seconds straight. It was like, yeah, and they played no D. Like, no, we're not doing that. And then St. Joe's game, like I played in a tournament, and that was like against Dimitri McCamey. We went to Illinois. We had played in a tournament. I think he was with like the Memorial Park Wildcats, and I went up there for like a tryout and things of that for that. I think it was at Proviso West, I believe. And and so then after my freshman year, I played my freshman year I played sophomore. So then after that was when I was going to go to St. Joe's. But there was no like getting on the train or nothing that way. So I just stayed at West. I think it was best, man. It was best. I always wanted to be a Blackhawk and graduate there. So I thought I was going to be in Aurora forever.
Did you have to make an adjustment, playing, I know AAU ball is totally different from playing high school ball, but did you ever have to adjust to the different style of play, knowing you're going to a more structured type of play instead of AAU where, it's mostly, everybody just go out there and play. But, high school, you have plays, you have practices, you have school, you have to, put all that together. Did you ever have to adapt, between the two?
Yay and nay. So like kind of, I would say for the high school part. So like me playing out on the gym and AAU was totally different. Like I'm gonna give you buckets. You know what I mean? Like
facts.
I'm out here trying to give you buckets. Do it efficiently. That's where the behind the back pass would come. That's where you throw the one-handed bounce pass, full court. Kind of doing some of those things. And the high school game is different. I think what helped me out, why that maybe that change wasn't so much, is because when I went to Jewel and I got to play for Coach Thompson, legendary Rick Thompson, got to play for him. He was on the West staff, so like he taught everything how we were going to learn at West. So all the defenses we learned. I think we learned Maverick, which we ran in high school. Our motion offense we learned there. And so I had a leg up, being at Jewel, because then when I went to West, Coach Thompson actually joined the coaching staff as an assistant coach at West. So the transition was easy. Like I knew what to expect. I knew to get yelled at. The game speed was a little different just because everyone's a lot stronger, more physical than you, hitting the weight room and stuff like that. I mean, I think I was like a $160, $170 coming in. So that was kind of the adjustment. But like the schemes and things of that nature, the importance on defense, that wasn't a big jump as I saw from some other people that came from some different schools like Jefferson and Washington, where that transition was a little bit different.
Okay. Take us through that, the West Aurora days, the East-West games, playing for Coach Kirkman. Just take us through, some of your favorite high and low moments through your whole high school career. Let's tap in with that.
Yeah, for sure. So my freshman year, I got the pleasure and the opportunity to play sophomore, which was a really big deal at West. So nowadays, I mean, freshman kids they're coming in expecting to play varsity, and if they don't, they transfer. Well, at West, that wasn't happening. You know what I mean? So even some of the best, I want to say like the last freshman I knew before, myself that came in was Jay Thomas that got to play varsity as a freshman, and then I couldn't tell you who it was before that. Coach Kirkman, that wasn't going with him. So I got to play as a freshman. I got to play sophomore. I got started all the games. It was great. That was my big test. Like I used to love it because, about halftime, the game, it started getting packed. So you coming out mid third quarter, what I'm saying? The band finally setting up. And West always had a packed gym. So that was like some of my experience, but my freshman season got cut short. I think like I missed like the last like 4 something games. I just had like some family issues, and that's part of what one of the reasons why I left. And so that my season just got cut short. It was like, hey, can't do basketball anymore. Kind of like, all right, cool. Played summer league that year. And that was different. That was my first time. I got a little bit of experience my freshman year. I got to join in like at the end of the season. But then my sophomore year, my freshman going to my sophomore year, I got to play summer league. And so in our summer league, Coach Kirkman was the truth, man. He would take us everywhere. He was taking us we went to Proviso East. I think it was twice a week to play in the league out there. We went to the Peoria Witchwood shootout, Peoria Central shootout, went to Northwestern to play. So like that was a big thing for me coming in. That was like my first taste of like varsity basketball. And so that was pretty cool, coming in and kind of seeing that. And then my sophomore year, I was able to play varsity. And that was kind of opening because a little bit, one of the things I remember about my sophomore year, so we had like a crazy conference winning streak, crazy home winning streak. I think in the DVC we won like 60, 70 games. Like it was crazy in a row. And then our home game winning streak was crazy. And we ended up losing to Wheaton Warreville South like on a tip-in, or I think it was like West Chicago my sophomore year. So our DVC conference streak broke that year. And then our home winning streak, I can't remember who we lost to, but it broke that year. And so that was probably like the biggest thing I remember out of my sophomore year. I think I wanted to play like a 6th, 7th man. I think I was like 6th, 7th man role. Played a lot of minutes though. And out there for my shooting, can play D. That was Coach Kirkman. We played full court D. Playing our 1-2-2 trap was like our freaky defense where there were no calls. It's a read and react defense, and so that was kind of a kind of a challenging thing here too. And so I did that. My sophomore year was great. My junior, so going into my sophomore year, not going to my junior year during the summer, I mean, you could tell like our team was going to be good. Like we were led by TJ Marion. He's just an epitome of what you want, like for like a teammate wise, where, he's one of those guys that can give you 20, but he just does everything. He rebounds, assists, points, all of that. And so like he was really our leader that year in the summer league show. So Coach Kirkman, he didn't coach us in the summer. He sat on the sidelines, and then the captains would coach. And so they did the subs, they did everything. And that was probably like one of the first times I heard like, man, sit your ass down. Like, hey, you know, like, man, you want to play some D or things like that, where it was like, hey, man, we're just holding you accountable. Like, it ain't nothing personal. Like, we just want to win. We just holding you accountable. And that stuck. And so, you know, going in, that rolled over into like our fall season. You know, anybody know Coach Kirkman workouts, man? It is crazy. The track is crazy. The stairs is crazy. We had ladders, so you had to do all that before you hoop. You know, I felt like he did a lot of that just to see like who wanted to play basketball.
See who's gonna quit or not. Yeah.
So, but you know, through those times, that's where your team kind of gets closer and stuff like that. And so, rolling into our junior year, we had a really, really, really good team, and you know, that was where kind of we put our name on our map right there. Our first loss didn't come to the Pontiac tournament. I think we ended up losing to Warren. I think we lost to Warren by like 2. And then our second loss, we went 29-2 that year. I mean, our only loss after that was Peoria, which was we lost in the first round of the tournament. I remember that to this day. We were so worried about like Bill Cole, who went to Illinois. He was good. We let this kid, I think his name Justin Dame or something. Dame. He went to Furman University and he just torched us that game. And we were picked to win. Like, I want to say we were picked to go all the way to the championship to maybe meet Simeon in the championship, but we just never got that opportunity. So I look back on that and that sucked. But then my senior year was kind of like time to lead type of thing. It was me and Donardo Island. He was big. I think Marquise Stewart was my point guard. And so honestly, just like looking back, like we underachieved. I mean, we definitely underachieved as a season when a lot of people's focus wasn't basketball. And so that definitely showed out there on the court. Like we definitely had the talent for it, but we didn't really gel as much as the last team. And so we ran into some roadblocks. I think we were like, I can't remember what we were. I think we maybe lost 7 or 8 or maybe 9 games, but definitely not what, you know, the West Aurora used to. We were coming off the Sarasoli, the Damian Mason, Michael Benz, Pruitt days. And we had us who just went downstate, you know, so then we get to my senior year and it was a little bit of a letdown. I think we lost in the regional final. So
talk about that state team, man. I know you West had a bunch of talent come through there, man. Just take us through that whole experience, you know, getting downstate.
Yeah, so man, going downstate, honestly, like playing my 4 years at West, and that was one of the reasons I went to West. Like it was an expectation, like you're in your 4 years, you're at least gonna make it down there once. And so that experience was good. You know, like I started most of the season, probably like halfway through. Aaron Snyder ended up starting for me. He had a torch, and I mean, he played with Johnny, TJ. You know, through AAU, they had a great chemistry and connection. They were our seniors. And then right away, 2 minutes in, I'd come in right away and pretty much play the whole game. And so that team right there, like we were pretty tight, like, you know, doing dumb stuff in the locker room. We all kicked it with each other, hung out with each other afterwards. You know, every team has like his little pods or his group, and we still had that too. I mean, for the most part, though, we all kind of got along. But I think like the thing probably resonates with me more with that team is just like when we were in practice, like it was like no BSing. You know what I mean? Like it was no like, hey man, we're here. Y'all know coach gonna have us in here for 3 hours. Let's not make it 3.5, 4. You know, and that it was kind of set the tone that type of way where you come in, we get our stuff done, we're gonna mess around, play around, we're gonna have fun, but we're gonna win. And that was probably one of the first times that probably in my career that whole season, every time we stepped on the floor, we knew we were gonna win. Like we were holding team. Our goal was to no team get double digits in a quarter, and so we weren't allowed to get let teams get 40 which was it's crazy now to hear. Like, teams
Yeah.
going 40 and a quarter out, now. But we weren't allowed to get teams in, over 40. And so it was a good experience. We got to go downstate. That was cool. We had like a police escort. They put us in a hotel. We got to see like the dunk contest, 3-point shootout. I think that was when Sean Collins was down there for the 3-point shootout, from East. He's one of my boys. So shout out to him. He was down there. But it's just a great experience. Like, you felt like a rock star a little bit, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, you get a little bit at the Pontiac tournament, because the Pontiac tournament, holiday tournament, is pretty big, where little kids come up to you, like, ask for autographs and stuff like that. You like, all right, cool, But then when you go to Peoria, like how it was back in the day, like, we only had 2 classes, so it was single A and double A. And so, man, it was the truth. We had all 8 teams down there, and it was a packed house, and so that was a good experience. Our crowd, man, like I compare the Rowdies back then. I don't know what they're called now. I'm guessing they're still called the West Aurora Rowdies, but our Rowdies back then, we would compare them like to the Cameron Crazies. Like, they were legit. Like, everybody had a shirt made. They came in there lit. However they got lit, who knows how they did in the beginning. But when they came to the games, it was crazy. We had the best home court advantage. When we went to state, I remember just looking up, and it was literally from like the top, bottom, like all students, all in our royal blue shirts, all with like nicknames on it, funny sayings on it. I mean, and man, we lost that game, man. There was a lot of fans in there like crying, So like, that was like one of the biggest things I remember from that, was just like, this is real, man. Like, West Aurora basketball is real, state tournament's real. And I was like, we'll be back. And I think I kind of took that to advantage. Like, I didn't realize how hard it was. I didn't realize, like, in some cases, how lucky you got to be. No injuries, everybody playing at the right way. Looking back at now, when you're young, you don't know that stuff. You just think like, oh yeah, we'll be back there next year. So
Now, you said you played at Peoria. Was that at Bradley? You guys played at Bradley?
Yeah. So it used to be at Bradley, which, I mean, I don't know. I've never been when it's been in Champaign or anything like that, so I haven't been to the state tournament. But at Bradley, it's a smaller venue, which is super tight. It was a smaller venue. Peoria is a great basketball town. But Coach Kirkman, we wasn't out there doing nothing, man. We was just in the hotel.
In the hotel room.
We was in the walkthroughs, go to your hotel, he'll feed us back in your hotel room. So it wasn't really like we was out there sightseeing. Like, it was a business trip. You know what I mean? Like, we was there to do business, and he didn't play no games. So
Facts. Okay. So I gotta ask you, Reg, the East-West games, man, for you. How was your whole East-West experience? Anytime I get to talk about somebody that played when, both sides were really good, you know what I mean? It's like tickets were sold out weeks in advance, the whole town is coming, everybody had, some of you guys would do the haircuts the same, stuff like that. Just talk about how much the town really enjoyed those moments. Like, I don't even know how to really ask my question, but like, just that whole experience, knowing the town is going to be there, like, no matter what Friday night East-West game, we're going to be there. Just how was your experience with that?
Man, the East-West game, there's nothing like it. I mean, obviously I'm biased, but I believe it's the oldest rivalry in high school basketball in Illinois. It's a packed house. I loved it when it was at West. When it was loud, our band's playing, it's going crazy, standing room only. You better get there early. But then, I mean, at East, there's no arena like East. That was the first. That's when they put the bleachers down. Behind the basket. They got the side bleachers that go all the way up to the top, and then you got like the balcony, and then the bleachers behind it. And so, man, the East-West games were always lit. One of my favorites, like I said, when I got to play against my uncle my sophomore year when he was a senior. So that was, a legendary one right there. I had a really good game. I think it was my senior year. I think I was lead scorer. I had over like 20 or something like that. And we ended up losing that game because Antoine Walls hit like a crazy floater buzzer beater. They ended up beating us. I'm pretty sure it's still online somewhere. So that was one of my big memories. But man, East West, it was just nothing like it.
Yeah.
I think at that time we only played once. We only played once a year. So it
Yeah.
wasn't when we were in the Upstate 8. We were DVC, so they were Upstate 8. We only played once a year. It was at each homes. I know afterwards they changed it where they maybe played at NIU and stuff like that. It's just not the same. Like, what I'm saying? You got to have it at the crib or at their place. But it was crazy because we all kicked it. Like I had like Justin Tyner and Sean Collins, Marlon Dickerson, who I always thought was super underrated. And then we had the Taylors, the Toilers 5 and 6. So those are like some of the guys like who were around my age that we all kicked it, or we'll come to the east side sometimes, and maybe they'll come over to the west side. But when we play that game, it ain't even no looking at them, no
We're not
shaking their
friends.
hand. Nah, we're not fans. And then when we beat them, you banging on the wall, why, so they can hear you in the bleachers.
Yeah.
And then it's so crazy because then afterwards, like, it's all love. You know what I mean? And it's like,
Facts,
all right, it's for the town, this, that, and the other. I don't think there ever was like no real beef, maybe, but for the hooping side of it, like it was always, always love, always respect. But that rivalry is like second to none, man. It didn't matter what the records were, didn't matter like we're the best team or not. Like anybody can get it that day, and so there's so much passion. But the best part is just the town shows out, like. Everybody, like you literally could not find a seat. I mean, there's pictures, there's film, there's everything. I went, what was it, 03 to 07, couldn't find a seat no matter what. No matter what.
Yeah, if you didn't get your tickets a week in advance or you didn't get there early, you wasn't getting in and you wasn't going.
No, you definitely wasn't. You wasn't going in. You wasn't going, and you better come fresh too. You better come
Facts.
fresh. That is more of a fashion show for the crowd. And then when you're a hooper, if you look good, you play good, like Deion say. So you gotta have you a fresh cut. I had braids back in the day, so had to get the fresh braids with the lining. Gotta have the shoes gotta be straight. Because you out there, man. And it was when Aurora basketball can put on a show for the town, and so it was. I miss that rivalry to this day. Like I wish I could go back and play right now. You know what I mean? Like I don't know how it is now. I haven't been back here in a little bit, but if it's not that same atmosphere, it's not the same. That was a ticket you gotta have. You gotta have. But I know now with you got streaming and stuff like that, people just like to watch it from home. So it's different. It's different.
Yeah. Okay. Yo, Reg, when did the recruiting process kind of begin for you? When did schools really start to get on the radar for you? And what were some of the schools that were like reaching out to you?
Yeah, so my junior year is when recruiting really picked up for me. That's when we're like going, like I said, 29-2. My recruiting, it ranged, man. I had D1 JUCOs all the way to D1s. Kind of went all over the place there. I was young for my age, so I graduated high school when I was 17. And so like a lot of colleges kind of knew that already. And then a thing that played into place for me is like I was emancipated and I didn't really have no parental guidance. So that played a part in my recruitment. Now that I deal with that now with college coaches in my AAU, I definitely understand it now, as where it's kind of coming from. So when I was coming out, like I had like NIU, like Northern Illinois, Illinois State was there, Western Illinois, like the state schools, Eastern Illinois. I also had like University of South Florida, had Fordham University out there on the East Coast. But then I also had some JUCOs too, like Kankakee Community College, I think DMAC, Southeastern. And so like it ranged from there. But when it came down to like recruiting wise, like for me, it was all about like, am I going to play? Am I going to play? Am I going to have the opportunity to play? A lot of them were because I was so young, my living arrangements, things like that. They really wanted to see like, how was I going to be on a college campus? So a lot of them wanted to redshirt me. which, looking back on it now, I probably would have. But, if you were there 03 to 07, like you didn't want to go to JUCO and you definitely didn't want to go nowhere in redshirt. That was like the two things you didn't want to do. And so, my recruiting, like San Ambrose hit me up. I was like, man, it's like 2 hours from the crib. Like I was like, man, I can't go too far because I didn't really have I knew I wasn't gonna be able to fly back home. I wasn't flying back home. I'm not bringing TVs. Nobody's driving me out to the East Coast of Florida or wherever. So you come to that realization here. I came to that realization, my senior year, and was like, okay, I got to be a little bit practical, a little bit too. But probably looking back on it, I probably would have redshirted at maybe one of the state schools, or I would have just went JUCO and went D1 JUCO and then went from there. But the recruitment process was fun. Going on visits is cool. It just gets overwhelming. It got a little overwhelming sometimes too. Especially because I just didn't know what the hell I was doing. So, I was like, man, I just want to play. You know what I mean? Like, hey, you gonna give me a full ride? I ain't gotta pay for college. Cool, I want to play.
Thanks.
And but I also didn't want to go play at like a JUCO. Like, and all respect to Coach Heiss, I know he tried to get me there too. Looking back on that, would have been a great situation because I knew he would have took care of me. But I didn't want to go to a bus. I kind of wanted to get out of Aurora. For a number of different reasons, but I definitely wanted to get out of the town here a little bit and just kind of see what's out there with the offer. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So you make the choice to go to St. Ambrose. How was that whole adjustment? From like say you not too far from home. You're going to college now. Everything's different. You had to adjust from AAU to high school. The different levels. Now you got to go to a college level. How did you adjust to the next level of your career?
Yeah, that's a great question. So stepping on, it was kind of crazy. My going into my freshman year of college that summer, I got into a car accident. My cousin was driving a car. He was driving the car. It spun out, and I was on the passenger side. And the telephone pole, we ran into a telephone pole. Well, it hit on my side, and so I was knocked out. I was in a coma. They had the helicopter lift me. And I think that was like maybe a month or maybe like a month and a half before I was supposed to go to St. Ambrose. So I was in the hospital for a little bit. I mean, that was probably the worst headache I've ever had in my life. Kind of when I woke up and the painkillers wore off. Sitting there in the dark, for like 2 weeks, couldn't do much, things of that nature. But I still ended up going to college. And so when I got there, the coach showed me, he was like, and one of the assistants, they were like, man, we didn't even think you were going to come. We think you were just not going to sit off this year. I was like, hell no, man, I'm trying to get out. I want to play. So get there. And, it was a great experience for me. That first year I started, so I came in and started. We had a decent team. It was very, very, that first couple of practices, when you do open gym, and I did open gym with them like that, I was like, oh, this shit's sweet. Excuse my language. Like, this is sweet. Like, this is sweet right now. You know what I mean?
Talk, Reg.
Like this is sweet. I'm out here killing. So then we get out there, the season hit. You're like, all right, now like, okay, that dude wasn't out there. That dude wasn't out there. That dude wasn't out there when I came for like my visits and stuff like that. And so like, all right, now you get to see the real team, and this was a NIA school. And so like, man, we get there, it's like 35 people, on the team, you know what I mean? So I'm like, all right, like ain't nobody can play. Like everybody can't play. Yeah. And so they got a JV team too. And so I was like, man, there ain't no way I'm going to play JV. You play JV, you're wasting a year. You know what I mean? So might as well have went to college JUCO. So I was like, there's no way I'm going to play JV. So start playing, start hooping. Man, a senior set a screen on me, and dude, my bones rattled. Like I ain't never been hit with a screen that hard ever. Like rock solid country farm boy, and he was my center. And I was playing full court D, running. They didn't call it out. Boom! I was like, man, my skin was over here, my bones was over there. And that was probably like all right, cool. Like I'm in college right now. And so my freshman year, my first game that I ever played, and like I said, was played we played Bradley University. And so we played the last game at the old Bradley Center or whatever they used to call it, but it's the one with the raised floor. We played Bradley our first game. We were doing pretty good. I think we lost it there in like the last 9 or 10 minutes. They kind of went on a run. That's when they kind of show you like D1 is D1, and that was kind of cool. And like after the game, the coach at the time came up to me. He's like, "Man, I can't believe you're a freshman. You're real good." So I kind of, certified, validated me like, all right, bet.
But I'm here now.
Kind of belong, you know what I mean? Yeah. And then the following day, we went to Notre Dame University, like the Notre Dame. And we had to play them, and we played them. And, I'm thinking coming off Bradley, like, all right, doing pretty good. I think that was when that was when Jonathan Peoples was there. I think Kyle McIlharney was there. Luke Herringody was there. So they had a whip. And, yeah, man, that was not good. Hey, we
say no more, Reg.
I think the spread was like 57 or something. Like we lost by like 64. So we get on the bus. The bus driver's like, "Man, y'all ain't even cover the spread." I was cracking up. And but that that's when it got real. And we played in front of like whatever they can fit. Like it was full. Because the next day was the Notre Dame Navy game, and so the kickoff to that was an exhibition game for us, and so that was pretty cool. I got to play in front of a packed house. I had like some family members come out there, so that was straight. And then the next day we got tickets and we got to go to the Notre Dame Navy game that next day, so made it kind of a whole experience. And that was the first time Navy beat Notre Dame, and God knows when. So we got to see that too. But that was kind of like my first 2 college games was Bradley and Notre Dame. So I was like, all right, cool. And then my freshman season went off pretty well. Like what really helped me was like I had been on like, I was kind of pretty much an adult like at that point. And so what kind of helped me, like I didn't live on campus at St. Ambrose. Like I lived off campus. And I got to live with 3 guys that I'm super, super close with now that were older than me. They were finishing up their degree or they were working on their graduate degree, and they had all played basketball. And so the guy, Chris Washington, he's an All-American. He was an All-American the year prior. So he kind of showed me how to navigate things. Then I had Brandon Smith and Brandon Mays, like they played basketball too. And we lived upstairs all together, us 3. And, they kind of showed me the ways. I did live the full college experience, if you can imagine. Ambrose is a great school. So, but, there's ways that you got to move, especially as an athlete and things like that. And they definitely showed me the way. So
facts. Okay. Yeah. And then you transferred, correct? Transferred to Iowa.
Yeah. So after my sophomore year, I went to Iowa Wesleyan. It's funny how that happened. I knew I was going to transfer. And so I was looking at,
not to cut you off, but that was a part of your plan the whole time. Were you thinking like, okay, maybe 2 years max, then I'm gonna see what's out there? Like, what was your mindset through all that?
So my sophomore year, like it like before that, so my freshman year, we had a coaches meeting like at the end, and pretty much like I wasn't used to losing. You know what I mean? Like I wasn't used to not having like intense practices. I was not used to, I think that it was more like the program was oriented on like community service, doing like looking good and things like that, which is cool. Like I'll do that too. And I had to do that at Wesleyan, but like I wanted to win, like that. And so like me and coach, like we didn't really see eye to eye on certain things.
Okay. Got you. Okay.
And so towards the end of the season, I got a little incident with and I know Jamal talked about Dixon here earlier in the episode. Dixon was there. That man was pretty much at my house every single day because I then moved off campus my sophomore year, still off campus, but then I moved in with some other basketball players that were on the team.
Okay.
And Dixon was at our house all the time and stuff like that. And so I just, after like the incident happened and all that, me and coach, like, he had a talk, and I was just like, I'll just kind of go elsewhere. And, the recruitment process there, it was kind of weird because like you would get like these restricted phone calls because I was still under a letter of intent and they weren't supposed to talk to me. So like you get these phone calls like, hey, I got your number from here, or this, that, and the other. And just talking to people, and I had like William Penn, thought I can go to Northern Illinois, like Illinois State. I couldn't go JUCO because I already played 2 years. And so I had a phone call. Coach Mignani called me from my Wesleyan. I knew of their program. They were in our conference. And, he just told me like, hey, I got scholarship for you. And, kind of go from there. And I went on a visit, played with the squad, hooping as well. It was kind of like, all right, bet we're going to do this. Now, it was a culture shock. I'm not going to lie. When I got there, I Wesleyan and St. Ambrose are two different things.
Totally different.
Yeah. Campus is different. Davenport's Quad City area. You go cross Locust 2 or 3 blocks. You in the hood. Okay.
Yeah.
Mount Pleasant, Iowa, there is no hood. Okay. The hood is like a farm. You know what I mean? So there ain't no like hood out there. So that was like a different shock. But I also thought it would be good too, kind of get away, fresh start, go to a winning program. And I just knew how disciplined Coach Mignani was. Like, he played no games, man. No games.
Yeah, look at Jamal said we turned up Mount Pleasant.
Oh, for sure. I know Jamal talked about other episodes. So Jamal was gonna go to Ambrose with me. And I just told him like, hey, I'm about to leave. And I was like, man, we go to school together. And we went out there on that visit there together. And so he's like, hey, if you're gonna go, I'm going. And so it was nice, what I'm saying? I had, my boys that I already had at Ambrose, and I wouldn't have knew anyone if I would have went to Mount Pleasant by myself. I wasn't. And so then, me and Jamal linked up, and man, we've been brothers ever since. So we definitely, I see that comment. We definitely did turn on Mount Pleasant. I'm not gonna lie.
Facts.
But it was good, man. Basketball wise, it was great.
Facts. Okay. So after your, career at Iowa Wesleyan, were you thinking anything else besides basketball after that? Were you looking like, oh, okay, maybe I want to go pro after this or go overseas? Like, what was your mindset after your college career?
Yeah. So my first year at St. Ambrose, like, we didn't have a really good record. I was a leading scorer, but I mean, we had guys ineligible, we had guys hurt. And me and Coach talked about it, like, the talent's not there. Like we kind of knew that kind of going in. I was thinking about even redshirting, wait for everybody to get back the following year. So my junior year there, leading scorer, me and Jamal. Jamal started like halfway through the season. And that kind of set me up for like the following year. So the following year, we brought in some hoopers, brought in some killers, like brought in a 6A. I got Big Jeff. I had Davis. I had Keenan. He came back. My homeboy Nate Fuqua from Proviso East, he came in. He was a D2 bounce back. Okay. He came in. He ended up being All-American. And so my senior year, me going from leading scorer to like, hey, we got a whole bunch of talent. Something's got to give. Like something's got to give. And so, I kind of took it upon myself. Like, I've always been like a coach on the floor. And so I kind of knew what the team needed. And we had a lot of guys that can get a lot of buckets. I knew there was going to be opportunities where I can get buckets too. But like, I went from the leading scorer to like maybe second or third leading scorer. But I mean, we won. I think my first game out, I think I didn't shoot, but I had like 12 assists and like 8 rebounds the first game out. And my coach, my assistant coach was awesome, man, because like he had the trust in me. You know what I mean? Like, he was like, no, Reggie can do this. He can lead the show. You know what I mean? And my man, Coach Nichols, he's now a head coach at Pecan College. So shout out to him. he had the belief in me that I can make that transition, and it worked. I mean, we had the winningest record in school history. I think we were like 24-5, 24-5, 24-6. We ranked number 10 in the nation, which was like the highest the ranking they've ever had. We got to go to national tournament. We won our first game, and then we ended up losing to the national champions by like 8, and we should have beat them. I was hurt. I had a high ankle. That was the first time I ever had an injury in my career. I had a high ankle sprain. My other homeboy had a dislocated finger where like his finger popped out of his like in practice. Like this happened like 3 or 4 weeks before we went to nationals. Big Jeff was hurt. Our 6'8" guy. So man, we went to the national tournament like limping in. And I always think about it, like we have like this Iowa Wesleyan group that we're still a part of, but we always talk about it, like, man, if we were at full strength, we would have won that thing for sure.
Yeah. Okay.
For sure.
So for you, so like, were you thinking of?
Yeah. So after I digress, my bad, brother.
No, you good,
afterwards, bro. Man. So afterwards, I did have the opportunity to kind of play overseas. I went to this camp out in Des Moines where we had like some scouts out there, some European scouts. And we had like a whole bunch of guys from everywhere, like D1s, D2s, which was cool. Like, cause I got the invite to go. And so we went out there. It was at the old AIB college, which isn't a college anymore in Des Moines. And after getting some looks there, funny story about that, there's a dude online. His name is Steph Weezy. And he's a big online personality.
Oh, I know that tall, light-skinned guy. Yeah. Okay.
He was there at the camp, and I promise you, he is just as funny as he is out there, bro. So
facts.
Shout out to him. We were at AIB camp together, and that dude was hilarious. He was kicking it and whatnot. But I did have opportunity. I could have went to like Luxembourg. Could have went to Taiwan to play. The biggest thing back then, like, it was low level, and there was no money. I mean, they wanted me to come out there for like $800, $900 a month that you make, and then they maybe pay for your meals and your lodging. And so like me, like, like I'm like, man, I ain't got the best support. Like, I'm not going all the way over there. And the money's not where it's at. And plus, like, for me, basketball has always kind of been like a sanctuary. I never really liked the business aspect of it. And so that's a little bit of that too. But one of my biggest worries about getting over there and like your team just shuts down, because I had a couple of homeboys out there that played in like a lower league in Germany, and then they had another lower league in like Bulgaria or something like that, and they didn't get paid, and their team shut down, and it's like, man, I got to come up with this money to go home in a country. So it's definitely not what it is today. Like, I would love for it to be where it's at today, because I definitely would have took that risk. Back then, like, there was no way. Like, I could have went back home and made more money. So that was my thought process.
Facts. Okay. So the ball stopped bouncing for you, and now you're involved with coaching. Was it hard for you to really come to grasp with, like, all right, man, this is where the ball stops for me, man. I got to find something different to do. Was that hard to adapt to?
Yeah, it definitely was. I think it hit me, like, even though I know I had the tryouts and things like that, I think it hit me when I was in college. After we got back from nationals, and maybe like 2 weeks later, like, that was the first time I was ever a regular college student. So like, I didn't have no workouts, I didn't have no study tables, none of this. And I just kind of saw like the freedom like college students got while you're just sitting in your dorm room. I'm like, oh shit. I mean, that's why y'all can sit here and play Call of Duty for 7-8 hours a day, because you go to class and then you got all this free time. So that was probably where it kind of hit me the most. Like, man, the ball's, it's gonna stop bouncing. And the adjustment period was it was kind of difficult. I wouldn't say like super difficult, but it was just like, dang, like, it sucks. Like, it sucks that it's got one play. But like, and then right away, like, I wasn't involved with basketball right away for like maybe like the first year after basketball. And then I got into coaching right after that. So it was kind of short lived. But I was still out here hooping in leagues, still out here, like, I still got it. out
Yeah.
there or morning games. But it's just different because then you're playing against dudes like you never played at a high level. So like
Yeah.
this is their championship, and I'm like, I don't want to play like this because y'all gonna try to injure me. And I'm just
Yeah.
I'll just out here shoot these jumpers. I'm not going in the lane unless you
Yeah.
start talking that mess, and then I'm like, all
Yeah.
right,
Like
I gotta
this for fun for me, bro. I'm not worried about a
yeah,
men's league championship, man. I'm just doing this for
nah,
fun for the workout, man.
yeah, and that's how it was. It's like get up and down and like, hey, we play or play in the league and stuff like that. And
Yeah.
it just wasn't the same. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
it's like it was really just like get good, getting your workout in. But I think I enjoy more just going to the gym shooting by myself than go play 5-on-5. That's really not 5-on-5 because
Yeah, facts.
I was chasing a little bit that high level, let's get after it basketball. So, I'll try
Yeah.
to go play with some college kids or try to go see what the high school kids talking about. And after a while it's just like, man, you'll never get playing at an East West game or playing at a national tournament or playing in a rivalry game or you won't get that juice back, but
Facts.
you try to. So that was a little bit of that. And then basketball is your identity. You're a hooper. You know what I mean? Like I was playing it since I was like 5. And
Yeah.
then, 18, no, excuse me, 21 after I graduated, it's like, hey, you're not a basketball player anymore.
Yeah.
Now you're something different. And so, you're still walking around in sweatpants all the time, or you walk around with pants on and you got shorts on under it.
Yeah.
Things can pop off at any time. So like, what I'm saying, but you realize like, you gotta, a little simply like grow out of it.
Yeah.
It's not that no more. Like you're not a hooper no more. It's just a hobby
Yeah.
now. So that
Yeah.
that was a little bit of a change for sure.
Was coaching always a part of your plans, or was that just something that kind of just fell in your lap that you kind of took on?
I always wanted to be part of basketball. And
Okay.
so one of my biggest reasons, basketball has given me so much in my life. Free education. I've got a lot of friends, family, friends, and that I've met through the game of basketball. So I knew when I got done, like I was going to be a part of it.
Yeah.
I think coaching was the best thing. And so right after I got done, like I said, maybe took like a year off, maybe less than that. I ran my own AAU program out here in Iowa. It's called Southeast Iowa Select. And, it's
Okay.
kind of a local team, but we did travel playing these big tournaments. I had that group from they were in 3rd grade all the way to 8th grade.
Okay.
And then while I was doing that, I was also assistant varsity coach at West Burlington. So shout out to Ryan Shellman. He's the one who gave me my start. He was the varsity coach. And then Jeff Housel was the athletic director. So I think I was the assistant there about 4 or 5 years, assistant coach, or maybe 3 or 4. Can't totally remember. At West Burlington, and we were able to accomplish some amazing things. I mean, he let me be the head JV coach, so that was kind of, hey, I get to coach high school boys, and it was 2A. There's 4 classes in Iowa, so there's 2A Iowa basketball. So it's a little different, obviously, than West Aurora or what I'm accustomed to. A lot slower, let's put it like that. But we were able to accomplish some, amazing stuff. We won conference like for the first time. We had like a great winning record. And so were able to do kind of a lot of great things there. And he let me be like the head varsity coach. So I kind of like had my own squad that I was doing. And so I was there for the assistant coach. And then I became, after I left being a correctional officer. So I was a correctional officer at a maximum security prison for 5 years while I was coaching. After I got done being a correctional officer and I moved into the educational realm, at the bigger high school, which is Burlington High School, I became the assistant coach over there. I started working for the district, felt like it was only right that I started coaching for the district instead of coaching for the small school in town. So became the assistant coach over there. Not gonna lie, it was probably one of the toughest seasons I've had to endure. I love my seniors. They fought through a lot of stuff, but man, I think when I joined that program, they were on like a 70, 80, or maybe like even 90 game losing streak. Didn't win like for a very long time. And maybe if you can fact check me, maybe I'm wrong, but it was about that. I'm pretty sure it was like 80, 90, like it was bad. My first year at Burlington as a varsity assistant, we didn't win a game. So that was super tough. The following year, I got the opportunity to be the head coach, which was cool. So it was one of my dreams, or not. I wouldn't say like, oh, I was really, really destined to do it, but it was one of the things I really, really wanted to do, to run my own program. And so I got that opportunity. Big shout out to Zach Shea, because he's the athletic director, that made a decision to give me that opportunity, which I'm super thankful for to this day. My first year there, we got our first win. I think we went 6-13 or 7-13 or something like that. In Iowa, you only played 21 games regular season. So it's definitely not Illinois where you're playing. Some of these dudes already play like 30 games already.
Yeah,
they still got a month to go. So in Iowa, like you cap it at 21 and then you got playoff. And so I think we won 6 games our first season. It was kind of a huge change around because I started 3 freshmen. I started 3 sophomores and 2 freshmen. So I just came here and was like, hey, man, we're just going to take our licks. We started winning towards the end of the year. We were in a very, very tough conference, which is the MAC out here in Iowa. So it's a lot of Quad City schools. And we were able to do some things there. The next year, we did big things. I think we went 13-6 or 13-7 or 14-7, something like that.
Major improvement,
Definitely had a winning record. First time we had a winning record in a very, very long time. Came up short. We were hoping to get a playoff win, came up short. And then after that year was over, I then went to the Iowa City School District and was an administrator there and left high school basketball. And then that's when I got into coaching with the Iowa Barnstormers right here, represent.
Yeah,
we're in the now this year, so shout out, and it's been great, man. With the Iowa Barnstormers is different. In high school basketball, there's a lot of politics. There is a lot of whether it's a small school, big school. I mean, you got sports boosters, you got parents. You got, everybody think they can do the job that you're doing, even though you're in the gym with them more than they are. And so it's definitely a change when you coach high school. But with the Barnstormers, it's been good because, I get a group of kids that, we got 2 goals. It's to win and to get you a college scholarship. That's it. There is no other, hitting agendas or, hey, this kid got to play because I brought brownies on the bus, or hey, my kid's a sports booster, or my kid's the parents on the school board, or there's none of that when it comes to, I know, in our program for the Barnstormers, which is one of the reasons why I joined. So shout out to a big shout out to Coach JP and Coach Tanner. They brought me on. And, it's been great. Our program's good, man. I mean, we got 5 NBA players, that we can say right now. And out of Iowa, that's great. So I don't know if there's anybody else that maybe have a couple. And
who are those 5 players?
Yeah. So we got Joe Wieskamp. We got Sam Hauser. We have Keegan Murray, Chris Murray, and then we have AJ Green. So so Keegan, Chris, and AJ, they're probably like the more reputable, the ones you guys would know right off the bat. And then
Sam is with Boston, right?
Yeah, Sam Hauser, and then Sam, and then Joe Wieskamp. I think he's down with Dallas. I'm not sure. I know he's with Toronto, but I think he's with Dallas now. But so and those guys were there before me, but the structure, the foundation was there. Just this past year, not this class that we got coming up, but just this past year, we had our 17U group. We had 21 kids, and 19 of them went to go play college basketball. Damn, and so that's what it's all about. It's all from JUCO all the way up to D1. It's not just the D1 kids, man. Like, especially nowadays, like talking to college coaches, things like that, they're looking for like 20-year-old freshmen, So it's a different route, a different path that it was when I played. Going to JUCO for 2 years to go D1 is the path. Going to prep school for a year is the path. Going straight out of high school to go to a Division I school is very, very tough now. is very,
Facts.
very tough. And so you got to be college ready right out of high school. And if you're not,
Facts.
you're already behind. So
Yeah, and it's gonna expose you if you're not. It's definitely gonna expose you.
for sure.
For
And
sure.
you got to think about it here too, as college coaches, they have like a 3 year, maybe 4 years that they got to turn that program around or they don't have a job. And so
Facts.
they need guys that can come in and do instant impact, where they maybe don't have the time to necessarily develop, a high school kid, and
Facts.
so, I look at myself coming in, would I be at a D1 scholarship? Probably, probably not. They're like, are you college ready? Are you, I wasn't big, I had all the skills and stuff like that. So I look at it like that, where it's totally different. I mean, it's totally, totally different. You got to be able to dribble, pass, and shoot, be skilled, coachable. I mean, a lot of things we tell our parents too, is a lot of people don't understand is college coaches also recruit your parents.
Yeah, facts. Facts.
If you're that parent that's yelling, screaming, or you think you're gonna call that college coach all the time, or if you're a helicopter parent, man, I've talked to coaches like, no, we don't want them. Or I mean, we case in point, good example. Last year we had a college coach come over and tell me like, hey, you need to tell one of your players, I like him, he's a great player, but you need to tell him like, hey, to stop looking over in the crowd at his dad and having his dad coach him in the crowd. And so college coaches look at everything, and their reputation and their job is on the line on who they bring in. And right now they're going older. So
facts. That's a great point. Because not only they trying to recruit you, they recruit your family because they got to take what come with you. You know what I mean?
that's for sure. Yes, they look at social media, man. You blasting stuff on social media, or they look at parents blasting coaches on social media. Like all those things come into play when they're gonna give you $40,000 a year to go to college.
Facts. Players, I hope y'all listening, man. I hope y'all taking this game right here.
Yeah, for sure.
For you, Reg, knowing what you know now, having your own AAU team, being a coach, knowing what you know now from your career, all the experiences and lessons that you learned, what are some of the messages that you instill in your players and your students?
Well, I mean, I have like a unique, so I can see the world in a different way. Like talk a little bit about my upbringing, but then I also worked, like I said, I worked at a maximum security prison for 5 years.
Facts.
After that,
you've seen it all.
I've seen it all. I've seen it all. And one of the biggest reasons why I made the shift out of being in that correctional setting was seeing how kids can end up there. I was seeing 18, 19-year-old kids doing life, like off of one bad choice. And so like some of the things that I could see or kind of like instill with them would be like, hey, one choice can affect your life, for the rest of your life. One bad decision could, one 10-second decision, one 5-second decision can affect your life forever. Say you catch a felony, or say you do this or that or whatever. I mean, that affects affects you for your life. And so one of the things that I really try to instill in my players is like, always try to make the best decisions. You are who you keep around. Hey, if they're out here doing this and you're with them, like if you got everybody sitting there, if you everybody sitting there and they're all bank robbers, but you sitting there with them and you're not a bank robber, what are the people going to think? You're a bank robber. You know what I mean? So like, and those things are to take for granted, and just don't take opportunities for granted. I mean, opportunities are slim, and run with it. Always be kind to everybody, because you just never know who's going to help you. I've had a lot of people help me throughout my whole life, and I've created relationships with them. But you always got to be that kind, caring person, because you may never know where you may run into that person or need that person. So I tell a lot of I teach gaming to my players. Like I keep it real. I'm a realistic. I'm not going to be like, oh, everything's going to be okay. It's like, no, man, it's not. you know, like, hey, if you do this, this is what's probably going to happen. Or, hey, you got to make good choices. You know, grades are important. You know, they scratch kids off nowadays like, oh, that's your grades. Like, boom. You know, back then it was like, maybe we can get you in this, that, and the other if your talent is good. If you ain't one of those top 20 kids, top 25, top 50, that's not happening for you.
Facts.
You know, so
Facts.
you got to come. It's almost like a job interview. You know, you got to come in, be positive, you know, they talk to your counselors, your teachers, they talk to your family members, you know, they'll talk to your barber, your pastor, you know, college coaches will do their research, you know, to ensure that you're the person that's right for the program. So just keep that in mind, you know, when you go in there.
Facts. Like Derek said, love what you're doing for the youth, Reg. They need us. They definitely do, man. Shout out to y'all that's really giving back, man. Definitely.
Yeah, it's definitely a passion for sure.
For sure. Reg, man, I gotta ask you this, bro. Who was some of your favorite matchups or toughest matchups that you had to face throughout your career?
Yeah, it's funny. So one of my good matchups I like to talk to, and funny, Justin Tyner went to St. Ambrose after me.
Okay.
And we got to go. Yeah, so we got to battle in high school, and then we also got to battle in college. And so that was pretty cool. I'm gonna throw this out there. My senior year at Wesleyan, we were the reason why they couldn't go to nationals because we beat them.
Yeah.
So I'll say I got the last one on it. But so I'll say JT was big. My homeboy Sean Collins was big. You know, he was a straight up shooter. You know, I always liked those East-West battles. That was good. Probably in high school, like Glenbard East was another one. Because they had like Mike Capoci, they had Griffin. He was pretty good. So that was kind of a big thing for us. And then just our practices, man. Like, you know, we had like Vontae, we had TJ. I remember I was in there when I got there in 2003. Sarah Soli was there, Pruitt was there. And so you're seeing those guys in practice, and then, you know, coach would throw the freshman in there just kind of see what he can do, get him kind of, and that was love. So probably some of my best battles are probably like the East-West battles. And then just when you on the court, bro, like we were hooping at Nancy Hill, we hoop at Smith and the Hunnos, you know, we'll go over there to Farnsworth Park, we on Randall, you know what I mean? Like those are probably like my favorite, because that's where you just out there, you talking shit, you giving dudes the bucket, you know what I'm saying? It's all love, and you got, you know, the whole hood out there, you know, everybody kicking it. And that was back in the day when people weren't out there trying to fight or shoot or nothing like that. It was
straight hooping.
All right, cool. We talking shit, straight hooping. Afterwards, like, all right, man, where we going? Like, what we doing?
What we on? Facts.
And nowadays, man, you can't get a group of people in there for nothing. So it's just, yeah, for sure.
Okay. All right, now, Reg, man, I kind of warned you ahead of time about this question right here. You know, it's always been the talk. My favorite one. I need your top 5 players from the city.
Yeah, that's a good one. So
I'm gonna make it easier. You can give me your 5 that you played with, and just your overall 5, like favorite from the city. Let's do that.
Okay, that's cool. I won't include myself in none of that because I'm definitely there. So I'm just gonna throw that out there. But so my favorite 5 that I play with, I would say TJ, Marion, my homeboy Vontae. Vontae was like an elite athlete, bro. Like sneaky athlete, would go jump up and get the ball. Like it was wild. So that was one of my favorite players. I liked playing with Marquise Stewart. He was my homeboy. Marquise, like he irritated me sometimes, but I just loved him because he just wanted to be good. But you know, he's just like he's so quick and so fast. And when I came back and saw him in senior year, he was just a lot more composed. You know, he got kind of thrown in there, but you know, he's a dog though. He was a dog. Who else would I say I want to play with from West? Those 3 stood out there. I'd say my point guard, Johnny Walker. He was my point guard. J-Dub, they used to call him Johnny Walker. I like playing with him. Man, he'd steal everything, bro. Like, he'd steal everything. Great point guard. He'd never turn the ball over. So I like playing with him as well. And then probably Aaron Snyder. he was my white boy out there, torch, but probably the goofiest dude you ever do. So probably like maybe like the best five I ever played with, but like my favorite five I like
Your
playing
favorite
with.
five.
Yeah.
Okay.
So like, and then
Now I
probably
need
the
your
five,
five from the city. This finna
five
get
from the
good.
city, without
It's
a
finna get
doubt.
good.
Yeah, my boy, my uncle Tyrone Evans, without a doubt.
Okay.
That's
Hands
my
down.
number one.
Okay.
Yami Ball was one that I thought he was just the truth. Went to go play at D2 Rolla. A lot of people don't
Yeah.
talk about him, but Yami was the
Shout
truth.
out Yummy. Yeah.
TJ Marion, we talked about him already. Those are the three right there. My boy Pruitt, you know what I'm saying? Sean Pruitt. Can't say too much. Like you just couldn't stop him. Like
Facts.
couldn't stop him at all. And
Facts.
then my
Last one. Talk
last
to me.
one, I would say Sarasoli, but he ain't from the crib. You
A
know
lot
what
of
I
people
mean?
say that, yeah, a lot
You
of people
know,
say that. It's hard
you
not to.
know, I'm not from the crib. But I'll say my boy S. Dot. I always had love for Sean Collins. So
Okay.
just had a
Shooter.
torch, just a straight shooter, bro. Like I've
Yeah.
seen him go give you 7, 8 threes in a row. If he's cold, it's a day, but when he's hot, it's over.
Over
It's
with.
over. So
Yeah.
those are probably like my five. I'll tell a little sneaky good people. Like a lot of people don't talk about like Marlon. Marlon Dickerson was really good, man. Like a lot of people don't give him that much love, but he was nice. Johnny Walker was another one I talked about him. I like playing with him. He was pretty nice. Tyler Thompson was nice. He came in after me. He was nice. Trying to think. I know Terry Jeffries was out there. He was nice. Barney
Yeah.
or Eugene.
Yeah.
Eugene is decent. Fuji. Remember playing
Yeah.
with Fuji all the time.
It's a
So
lot of
like, man,
hoopers,
there's
man.
so many hoopers. I know there was like Bo Wright, Will Brown, like all those guys were younger than me. They came after. But
Yeah.
like those are the dudes that when we go to the gym, like I was hooping with them, because
Yeah.
that's part of where I'm from. But yeah, man.
Okay.
I like Marcus Krokop. I throw him out there. He's a
Shout out.
great point guard too.
Facts.
Krokop as well. I had Corbin Spearman. He was part of there. Donardo, I talked about him earlier. So yeah, man, there was some great players that came out of Aurora for sure. A lot of people that went to college and did their thing. A lot of people don't know, but they had a game though. Aurora was in a real good place back in the day for sure.
Facts. Reggie, in your prime, if you could play anybody 1-on-1 in your prime, who would that matchup be? Who would be that matchup that you want?
Like anybody in the world?
Anybody, bro.
Okay, that's a good one. I've never thought about that. I'd probably say like I idolized Reggie Miller a lot back in the day, so I would definitely say Reggie Miller for sure.
Okay.
That's probably a super weird answer. It'd be either Reggie Miller or Steve Nash. Honestly, I had a Steve Nash autograph like poster. I mean, framed
Yeah.
up and everything. Bro. Like,
Yeah, you was ready.
I was that dude.
Okay, bet. If you could list the 3 albums for the rest of your life, what 3 albums would they be and why?
Oh boy. First one would probably be. So like I said, I like the South. So the first one would be the Unbreakables by 3-6 Mafia. That's the reason why I love the South. Everybody know when everybody was not liking 3-6 up here,
You
I was
was.
playing 3-6 all day. Like I'm 3-6 all day long. So that would be one. The other one, I'd probably say, can I do a mixtape or just
So,
mixtape?
anything you want. Anything you want.
All right,
Yeah,
I'll
yeah.
go No Ceilings. I'm a Lil Wayne. He's a goat to me. So
Okay,
No Ceilings.
Reg. Yeah.
I can't do without No Ceilings. I still listen to that to this day.
To this day,
Um,
bro.
to this day, like it's just come on, man. Like it's timeless, bro. It really is timeless.
You hear that lighter flick, Reg, it's over with.
It's over. It's over. It's just over, man. It's over. And then the last one, I'm gonna do another mixtape because I was a big fan of his too. I'm gonna do Wiz Khalifa, Cushion Orange Juice.
Talk, Reg. Okay.
That's what I was on. That's what I was
Yeah.
listening to. That was it. Like, oh yeah, that's my jam right there. Wiz is my boy.
Yeah.
Cabin Fever. It's between that and Cabin Fever. I went with Cushion OJ too. So
Bet. If you could have 5 dinner guests, dead or alive, anybody, who would be your 5 dinner guests that you would have at your table?
Um, I would say, I want to give I'll give you like some real like who I want. Like some people
Okay.
be like, oh, Obama, shit like that. Like that's cool, but I think he's just the president. It is what it is. He's cool. Like I want to have like a good time, like somebody I'm gonna laugh with. So I'm gonna definitely
Okay.
take like Dave Chappelle. I love Chappelle, so I want him there. So that's one. I want I want Snoop. I want Snoop there. I want to gain some knowledge, and he is the master that I feel of reinventing yourself. You know what I mean?
Facts.
So
Facts.
I would love to pick his brain on how he was kind of able to navigate himself from a gangster rapper to kicking it with Martha Stewart.
Yeah.
You know what I
Business
mean?
owner, everything, death row,
Yeah,
everything. Yeah.
yeah. So them two. Let's see. I would have I would have my Aunt Nikki there. She lives out in Fort Wayne, Indiana. I really look up to her a lot. She's doing her thing, so I definitely want to have her there. And plus, I know she loves Chappelle,
Yeah.
for sure. Um, give me, I'll take Jay-Z. No, not Jay-Z. I'd rather have Drake than Jay-Z. I probably relate more a little bit to Drake than Jay-Z. So give me Drake. I'm just curious, kind of pick his brain, see what he's about. And then probably like the last one, probably be Charles Barkley.
That's
Yeah.
an interesting one. Okay.
I think he's definitely misconstrued. He's very, very smart. He's hilarious. Like people forget it's entertainment. But
Facts.
like he keeps it real about a lot of stuff, and I think he'll be funny too. So
Facts.
I always wanted to like pick his brain a little bit. He's kind of a little one who's kind of not reinvented himself. Like he's always been who he was, and it worked
Yeah.
for him. So I
Facts.
was like, hey, how could you manage that? How did you not have to put the mask on,
Yeah.
to be successful? So
Facts. And being an undersized forward at that time, dominating like that, like
dude, he could rebound the ball, everything.
yeah.
I talked to him about how he was out of shape and how he got into shape,
Yeah.
and kind of like life afterwards, and stuff like
Facts.
that. But I think all the people I would just kind of get interesting conversations. So
Okay, bet,
Prince
bet,
was an
bet.
honorable mention. He's one of my favorite artists, if not my favorite. But
Okay.
Prince would be up there too.
Okay, bet, bet, bet.
Yeah.
Reg, if I told you I could get you courtside tickets to any NBA game in NBA history, what game would you want to be at and why?
For me as a Pacers fan, I would want to be there for two games. I'm gonna cheat. Is the New York Knicks game when Reggie Miller killed the Knicks and was talking so bad to Spike Lee. I
Yeah.
wanted blood. I want to sit next to Spike to see how he was feeling.
Over there,
I
like
want to, yeah. I want to do that. And then the second one would probably be a playoff game where Reggie Miller pushed off Jordan and got that three off.
yeah. I kind of
Yeah,
figured that was coming.
yeah,
Yeah, I kind
yeah.
of figured that
That,
was coming.
of course, man, of course. So I'd like to see that. Honorable mention, Kobe, 81. I'm a
Facts.
Kobe fan.
Okay.
Rest in peace, Bean. But yeah,
Yeah.
I'd love to see the 81. Yeah.
Okay, but last two questions for you, Reg.
Mhm.
Reg, I need your top 5 NBA players of all time.
Ooh,
Your
ooh.
fives.
But top five all time. Okay,
All
give me
time. Your
Jordan,
five. Okay.
Kobe. All right, we gotta take the three out. Jordan, Kobe,
So you gotta take the
LeBron. We
three out.
already know. Yeah, you already know them three. So those would be my three: Jordan, Kobe, LeBron. Give me Shaq, and then give me Steph. I'll take Steph,
Hey,
man.
okay.
Change the
There we
game,
go.
man. Like
Facts.
6'3" guard, best shooter we ever seen in our lives. So
Facts. Facts.
he'll go down. I still think he'll get one more ring. I know it's not looking great there, but I mean they're not healthy. They'll get there. Maybe
Yeah.
not this year, but I mean they just won one like less than 2 years ago. So I think they'll
Facts.
be all right.
Facts. Facts. And now basketball is such a positionless basketball. You literally get those 5 guards out there and maintain. You know what I'm saying? It's just
It's not like where it used to be there, like, hey, you're only going in for rebounding, or hey, you're just a defender. That's what I tell my
yeah.
boys all the time, man. If you can't dribble, pass, and shoot, It's ugly for you out here.
Gotta keep it real with them. Yeah,
Yep.
gotta keep it real.
And you gotta play deep.
Facts. My last one for you, Reg, is if you could recommend somebody to have on my platform that can come on here that you may feel deserve flowers or maybe overlooked, that's a big part of Aurora basketball. Who would you recommend I have on the show?
I think I got the pleasure. I'll pick two. I got two. I got the
Not to cut you off. They don't have to be from Aurora. I'm just saying, like, but they can
Yeah.
be anybody that you would recommend that you just want to hear a story that may help the people.
Yeah, I think I had the pleasure of playing for Kirkman. I think if you ever got Coach Kirkman on here, I think that would be legendary. Like, he may be old school, but man, he got so much wisdom. I swear, I use all these sayings and stuff all the time, bro. I can't get out of my head. And then the second one would be Coach Battle. I think a lot of people just forget, like, this man was at NIU, then he went to Illinois, part of like one of the best Illinois teams. He then went to the league. He was in the dunk contest. You know what I mean? So there's like a lot of things where, especially the younger generation, like, you don't know that there's legends walking around you that have been there, done that, and kind of show you the way a little bit. And I should have took more advantage of that when I was in high school. So I think those two, and they're still touchable. They're still out in the road. You know what I mean? So.
Yeah. Well, cuz I can tell it, but they coming. They both coming. They both coming on the pod. So I'm trying to keep that in the stash, but let people know, all right, boom. But we're gonna announce it, man.
Hey, man.
No, you good. No, you good. Cuz tell it. So
well, let's go.
Definitely we working on Kirkman and Battle, man. That's definitely one that I think so many people just want to hear from, just knowing like how long they've been around the game of basketball. Me and Cuz went to lunch one time. We were just looking up history, and like Coach Kirkman was an assistant coach for many years for good teams, then becoming the coach. It's like, and then Battle, you just said with Battle, like, man, why wouldn't you want to get them on the platform to tell their story? They just affected so many people in a positive way. You got to get them on the pod, man.
Without a doubt, man. Coach Kirkman was probably, other than Coach Kirkman was one of the most influential coaches I've ever had. My coach at Iowa Wesleyan, Alan Mignani, who I still have a great relationship to this day. He was a great coach too, and he reminded me a lot of Coach Kirkman. But Coach Kirkman, he was disciplined, hard-nosed, but man, he cared about you. Like, he would do whatever he had to, and there were times that he had to keep it real with you. Like, he knew if he was out here doing dumb, he'll call you out on it, but he won't do it in front of everybody. And tell
he mean it with love.
Yeah, and do it. Get your shit straight, or or else. And
come sit right here next to me on this little cushion chair right here.
Yeah, that man gave me so many rides to practices and calling and make sure I'm good throughout my high school career. Opening the gym up for me when he knew I just wanted to be in the gym because maybe I didn't have no place to go at that time. I got all much respect for him. He's affected so many people, and he still does to this day. I mean, look at West now. West, as a former Kirkman player, he is passing on that lineage. You know what I mean? So shout out to Coach Fowler over there.
Facts. Reg, man, I just want to say thank you, for taking time out of your day, to come on my platform. For me, and Cuz, we want to give you your flowers for what you just contributed to the game of not just Aurora basketball, but just basketball, itself. So I want to give you your flowers, say we appreciate you, man, and we thank you for all the memories that you gave, us. I'm a little young, but I'm speaking for the people. But I just want to say we appreciate you, man, and you deserve your flowers, bro.
Man, I really, really appreciate it. Thank you so much for having me. Man, for anybody listening or anything like that, thank you guys, because you made the high school basketball and Aurora basketball experience like what it was. It was all about community, all about people coming together. Whether it was East, West, or whatever, it was still Aurora. And I felt like we have so many other individuals that represented the city well, and I'm glad to be a part of that and one of them. And I'm looking forward to hoping that that lineage continue with more Aurora Hoopers coming out, going to college, and going back. So.
Facts. Look at my mom. Said I've been knowing him since before he was born. Yeah, those Gale days, man.
I know. Hey, it was at Mount Olive and Gales and Progressive Baptist Church, man. I've been there, all of them. So I know if you're part of church family, you probably babysat me, watched me, maybe even spank my butt a couple of times. For anybody out there, thank you. I had a lot of loving women in my life that were older that definitely took care of me, let me sleep on their couch, fed me, let me sneak in their window, and that wasn't really sneaking, and they knew I was there. Like my homeboy Mike's mom, I think I've done that plenty of times until she just said, "Boy, you staying here." So shout out to all them people. But Aurora is all about community, man, and it's bigger than basketball. But basketball is definitely a tool for sure.
Look at my aunt. Now my aunt tapped in, and one that said, okay, yeah. But Reg, man, thank you again, Brody. Like I said, I wish you all the best success to you with everything that you have going on, and man, we'll stay in touch, Brody, for sure. So I appreciate you again, bro.
Yeah, check us out, Stormers. We on that Puma circuit, man.
Yes,
represent,
sir.
Man. You'll see us putting kids in college. Come mess with me.
Yes, sir. Tap in with bro. All right, Reg, Brody, I'll talk to you.
Peace out, man.